What's up, dudes? I feel like I haven't talked to you in forever. Doomtubers. Yeah. It's that time of year. I'm actually really late. This is actually supposed to be my first video of 2014 slash, or excuse me, 2015 slash last video of 2014. This is the wrap up video slash game of the year video. This is it. This is it. And yeah, I didn't expect it to take this long to record this video, and for that I apologize. Been busy, been playing a lot of games, just been doing things, just stuff, and haven't recorded. So once again, for that I am sorry. But we are here now, and it's been a great year. It's been a great year. Um, I keep seeing press, from game people that 2014 sucked, and I disagree. I disagree. Maybe as far as like new releases go, I don't know. I didn't buy that many. Um, I kind of thought about doing a 2014 game of the year, like of the games that actually came out in 2014. And I still may. I don't know. I just didn't buy a whole lot, and like several of them that I bought, for the Xbox One and such, I didn't play until 2015. So they'll be talked about next year, probably, at the end of the year, or slash beginning of the year. But let's get started. For the last quarter of 2014, I did beat several games and several big games, starting at the beginning of October. Um, let's see here. We started off by playing and beating a little game called Binary Domain. That game is amazing. I didn't do a video on Binary Domain. I really should have, kind of a game discussion type video, because of how much I liked the game. Like it's seriously one of my favorite games now. I mean, it's so good. The story of it was just fantastic, and it's a third-person shooter, which I don't play a ton of. That was actually one of the. It's not the first one I played, because I played Red Faction Armageddon, which really those two games kind of have the same heart and soul behind them. Whereas Binary Domain is maybe a little bit more serious, and of course the story is better. The story of Binary Domain is a lot better than Red Faction Armageddon, but they're both just video games, and it was very good. And very cheap, so I highly recommend it. I also the only replay this month this quarter, I did replay Pokemon Red version because of my kind of Poke fever. I was in there for a little bit. I'm still love Pokemon. I plan on playing some more games coming up, but you'll see there's a couple more on this list that I actually played through. But that was the first one I played through and beat, and it was just like so good to have just a nice long trip down memory lane, playing Pokemon Red, again, I've played it dozens of times. I used to just beat the game and then just restart it, I played that game so many hours, and I don't know, it just doesn't get, it aged well to me. It aged really well. I thought that because it does, have like the running shoes or whatever, that it would feel really slow, but you walked faster in those games than you do now without the running shoes. Maybe the simple, 8-bit Game Boy gameplay moves a little bit quicker. Naturally, they slowed it down. I think when the graphics got better for some reason, your walking speed is just a snail's pace now. But yeah, Pokemon Red was fantastic. It's a replay because, like I said, I've beaten it dozens of times. So I'll like leave that one out of the running. Right after that, though, I was playing this at kind of at the same time as I was playing Red version. I was playing Heart Gold on the DS, and that one was just a huge trip down memory lane. But in this case, it was actually Heart Gold being a reboot of the, or not really a reboot, a remaster, whatever you want to call it, of Pokemon Gold and Silver. And this one, was both a nostalgia trip because it's technically the same game, but it was also a new adventure because there was so much added content throughout the game, and it was just a real pleasure, a real treat to play this game, and I'm glad that I spent as much time as I did, close to 50 hours, I think, just one playthrough, beating the Elite Four, beating Red at Mount Silver, and then beating the Elite Four again, and actually taking some time to breed Pokemon a little bit and collect Pokemon. It was really great. Next up, Diablo 3 Reaper of Souls. Technically, this should be considered a replay because I did play Diablo 3 last year, but I don't know, man. Like, the Reaper of Souls section of the game felt new enough to consider it almost new enough and long enough to almost warrant it considering it its own thing, even though it was just technically the original game and an expansion. It was very good. It was very, very good. Really thoroughly enjoyed my time with it, and I played it at a time where I was kind of sick, so I got to spend a lot of time devoted to it. I played it, in like 3 or 4 sittings, and I blasted through the entire campaign, and it was great. Number 46, Zelda 2: The Adventure of Link. I have no problem admitting that at some point, midway through the playthrough, I decided, you know what? I need infinite lives. I need infinite lives. I can't. I want to play this game. I want to beat this game. So I was emulating it anyway on my computer. So I said, you know what? I'm gonna find a Game Genie code for infinite lives at the very least, because I am tired of walking all the way back to these dungeons. So I managed to get through it, and it was a lot of fun. And I tell you what, that last dungeon, the Grand Palace or whatever it's called, that thing is easily 5 times as hard as the rest of the game. The individual enemies in that palace seem to be just as strong as the end level bosses of all of the other levels. It was bonkers, nuts. Great game. Definitely considered the black sheep of the Zelda series, but I really, really enjoyed it. Next, Metroid 2: Return of Samus on the Game Boy. One of my first Game Boy games ever. Definitely my second Game Boy game ever. I got Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and Metroid 2 was my second game, and Tetris 2 I got it at the same time. Um, yeah, I've had that game forever and just never beat it, never beat it, never beat it. Finally, I decided that I was going to beat it, so I sat down with a map of the game and managed to get through it, and it was a blast. It's also considered kind of a black sheep of the Metroid series, but I don't quite understand the hate for it. I mean, there's not many people like Metroid 2. I don't know. I won't say I've said in the past that it's better than other Metroid games, but that's before I really played a lot of them. Um, I would say it's not better than Super Metroid necessarily. Not better than the next game on the list, which I played, which was Metroid Zero Mission. I did emulate this also. So originally on the Game Boy Advance. That game is pretty spectacular, and I have no problem saying that it is my favorite Metroid game now. Metroid Zero Mission is a remake of the first Metroid game, and I'm serious, and I think we mentioned this on the podcast. If you have the opportunity to play Zero Mission and you've never played Metroid 1, play Zero Mission and don't play Metroid 1. Like, don't play the original. It is Metroid is such a hard and unforgiving game, and Zero Mission plays so much more smoothly, and it's high action, and it's pretty much like kind of, it reminds me of like an HD Super Metroid. Like, that's kind of the style of it and the way it feels. The game, like the graphics and things kind of remind me of Super Metroid. So it's definitely like the style and the look of it is like an HD Super Metroid. And I had hoped that I would actually get to play Super Metroid before the end of 2014, and I just ran out of time, and I just wasn't motivated enough, I guess, to play it because of whatever reason. I didn't get to it. That was number 48 on the year. Number 49 on the year, Pokemon X on the 3DS. I have done a video on this one, and I, once again, have no problem saying, I keep saying that phrase. It's not my favorite Pokemon game. It's great. It looks great. It sounds great. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of nostalgia. But, man, it's too easy. And I know that for some, that's not necessarily a, a harsh critique or whatever. But, man, I don't know. I felt like it, because it was too easy, I almost couldn't enjoy it as much. But yeah, it was still a great game, but not my favorite. Certainly not my favorite. And the last game that I beat in 2014 was a little Vita game called Resistance Burning Skies. I didn't do a video on this one either, and I feel like I should have, but the game is so kind of empty in a lot of ways that it just didn't warrant a video necessarily. It's a first-person shooter on the Vita. The shooting is fun. The controls, are decent. Some things about the controls are a little odd. Like your secondary fire on all of your weapons is a touchscreen control. So on occasion you'll like toss a grenade or shoot the grenade launcher like with your thumb accidentally on the side of the screen, and you might blow yourself up. It happens. It's a possibility. But all in all, I think it was a pretty good game for the Vita. But that said, I'm glad I only spent like $8 on it because it's not spectacular, but it's good. Okay, now a couple of honorable mentions. I didn't necessarily beat these games, but it would be really hard to say that I didn't play enough of these games to consider them beaten and or games that I finished in 2014, games that I played enough of in 2014. We're moving on to the ranking here. That's what we're doing now. So a couple of honorable mentions. Like I said, I didn't really beat these games, but I played a ton of them. First up is Minecraft on the Xbox 360, and I actually have moved on to the Xbox One version of this now, because it was only like $5, and I know that there is technically an end to this game, like it's called like the end or something like that, where you can go to the end and beat the dragon thing or whatever. I know that exists in this game, and it takes a lot of work to actually do it, but I've put close to 50 plus hours in this game in 2014, so I feel like, yeah, this is definitely an honorable mention for Game of the Year. Definitely one that I could put in that category in the running, but I won't because I haven't completed it necessarily. And the other one, no shock here, I've played numerous iterations of this game this year alone. It's the Street Fighter 4, and I'll just go ahead and hold it up, Ultra Street Fighter 4, but I played Vanilla this year, I played Arcade Edition, I played the 3D version on the 3DS, and I played Ultra, and I've put 40 plus hours into this year as well. Got me into a huge fighting game craze where I've bought several fighting games over several consoles, and bought fight sticks, and it's just become one of my favorite genres ever. And Street Fighter 4 is definitely one of my favorite games of all time, no question about that. So for me to leave it out of the running for Game of the Year would be kind of disingenuous, but at the same time, because I haven't beaten the game with every single character necessarily, I won't necessarily call it beaten. I have cleared the arcade mode dozens of times, but still just an honorable mention for Game of the Year. All right, now for picking the last three games for the quarter, we'll pick Binary Domain, of course, and we will pick Pokemon Heart Gold, and we will also pick Diablo 3 Reaper Souls. I know that seems weird, but I'm still going to do it. I'm still going to do it. And those three games join, of course, to remind you, they join Singularity, Bioshock, and Legend of Zelda Link Between Worlds. For the first quarter, second quarter, it was Etrian Odyssey 4, Call of Duty 4, and Paper Mario Sticker Star. Yes, Paper Mario Sticker Star. Third quarter was Rage, Wolfenstein: The New Order, and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. So, there's the 12 games that I'm going to pick from, and I'm a total chump, and I'm going to pick 3 games again. Why not? This is my channel. I can do what I want. I'm not going to pick just one game for my game of the year. I'm going to pick 3, and quite honestly, once again, I can't tell you definitively which one is number 1. So, just bear with me and just agree to disagree that there's 3 games that occupy one space on the Game of the Year list. I'll just show you them to you. It is Etrian Odyssey 4, Binary Domain, and Wolfenstein: The Freaking New Order. These games just blew my freaking brains out this year, and I managed to play them at a staggered enough pace that they weren't all lumped together. This one was I beat this back in, I think it was May, something like that. Wolfenstein New Order, I think, was like August, and Binary Domain was in October. It was on Halloween Day, was the day that I beat this game. So I managed to somehow stagger my 3 games of the year throughout the whole year. But man, Etrian Odyssey 4, one of the greatest RPGs I've ever played, and certainly I've made it no secret that, there's that phrase again, that the Etrian Odyssey games are some of my very favorite games, very favorite series, and certainly it's no surprise that Etrian Odyssey 4 would manage to take one of the spots at the top. Binary Domain was such a freaking surprise. And honestly, it was actually pretty hard to choose this game over Bioshock 1. That was a really tough decision. Ultimately, I think that I was more surprised at how good this was, and just thoroughly enjoyed every bit of this. And I thoroughly enjoyed every bit of Bioshock also, so that's why it's hard to really definitively say that this one is better than Bioshock, because I don't necessarily believe that. I don't necessarily believe that Binary Domain is better than Bioshock. I just mean Binary Domain was freaking amazing, and it just surprised me so much that I just loved it. And Wolfenstein New Order, I was not surprised at how much I liked this game. I was not surprised at all. I was just the right amount. This game blew my freaking mind. It was so good, and I knew it would be. Machine Games knocked this one out of the park. It was such a fantastic experience. I loved every minute I spent with all 3 of these games this year. So there you go. Last year was Etrian Odyssey Untold, Fire Emblem, and Diablo 3, which are 3 fantastic games. Man, these 3 right here, this is where it's at for 2014 for me. And only one of them is actually a 2014 release, which is nice that one of my games of the year actually came out this year. So that was nice. So there you have it. That is the Game of the Year list. Now, I want to talk very briefly about some games I'm playing right now as to serve as somewhat of a, kind of a backlog update. Not really a backlog update, because these essentially have nothing to do with my backlog, because I just got all 3 of these games. But they're games that I am currently playing, and we talked about this a little bit on the latest episode of the podcast, which as of right this moment is not uploaded yet, but it will be in the next day or so. I don't know. But Killer Instinct on the Xbox One, this is seriously one of my favorite fighting games of all time. It is definitely rivaling Street Fighter 4 right now. Like, this game is so good to me, and I'm loving every moment of it, and I can't wait to download the Season Pass, or Season 2 roster, so I can play as some of those characters and check them out, and I'm looking forward to all of the characters coming out still. some of which I know are coming out still, and some of which I don't know. Um, but yeah, I mean, I just love how they're. I actually really like how they're doing the seasons, like where they're releasing characters kind of one at a time, um, so it gives you a chance to use them, and you don't get overwhelmed with all the new characters all at once. So I like how they're doing that a lot. So Killer Instinct, look for it on the Game of the Year list of 2015 because it is so awesome. This is another game you can look forward to on that list. It is Destiny. Now I know this game is pretty polarizing across the gamer universe, and I understand a lot of people's qualms with it, but man, I personally am loving this game. I know that the story mode is pretty short. I'm almost to the end of the story mode myself, but honestly, I really like going around and like doing like the patrol missions and doing the bounties and going into the Crucible and doing like some PvP stuff like Control and things like that. I like this game a lot. It's a fantastic first-person shooter with some trappings of MMORPGs. Um, I can't get over how good this game is to me. I know it's not for everyone, and that's fine. I'm not going to try to sell anyone on the game, but I really, really enjoy it. And last but not least is a game that prior to starting it up on the 3DS, I didn't really care for, and that is Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time. I picked this game up because I wanted to play it, and also I wanted to play it soon in anticipation of Majora's Mask coming out in just a couple of months. So I wanted to try and play through this game before then, and so far so good. I'm liking it. It's definitely a lot better experience on the 3DS than I ever had on the N64 or even the GameCube version of it. I don't know why. I don't know what it is about the 3DS port that makes it so much better. Maybe it's just the fact that I can close it and I don't actually have to turn it off. I can just close it and then open it back up, and I'm right where I left off. You know, I don't have to save and quit and then like have to restart back at the village and things like that. Just different things I can't explain, but for some reason, Ocarina of Time 3D is proving to be a lot better experience for me than any other time I've tried to play the game. Because there's been 2 or 3 other times where I tried to play and I didn't like it. I just didn't like it. And I don't know why. So. All right, folks, that's long enough. 23 minutes for this video. I appreciate you all watching. I can't believe that, you know, it's been such a great year. I mean, I've got like 410 subscribers now, which is amazing. I never thought that. I know everybody says that, but I really never did think that I would ever have that many people that subscribe to my channel. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And look forward to more videos. I want to do some response videos to some other videos maybe. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm so bad about making videos anymore. Yeah, hopefully we can do some game discussions too. I'd like to wrap up some of the games I'm playing and play some more stuff. That's kind of a 2015 goal. I'd like to finish some of this stuff and finish more games than I pick up. That's kind of what I want to do this year, but let's see what happens. Thanks for watching. Doom Waves.